So here we are looking at the ATRN chart again. We've done maybe the third time this week, but when the chart keeps acting like it's been, the updates are just going to keep coming. And especially after today's action, I made a comment on the message boards about just being confused. And it was a very wild day because when you look and see this candle here, if you didn't look at volume and I asked you, what do you think the volume looked like, you'd probably tell me, well, that must have been a very big volume day considering it opened way down here and came up here. But then when you actually go down and look at volume, sure, it was bigger than yesterday, but by no means was it a bigger volume day like maybe something like this or something like over here. Very small volume relative to the amount of price action it got. So confusing to see at first, but at the end of the day, all that tells us it boils back to supply and demand. There is demand for the stock, but the supply, in other words, the people willing to sell, were few and far between. So therefore, it was able to move very quickly and make this crazy move here within a course of a day on very low volume. So as cliche as the saying is, it does seem like the float is getting tighter on this one because you don't make these sorts of price movements on this amount of volume unless the float is getting tighter. So that seems to be the case here on this one after this sort of price action. The other thing to note is it came down here and again tried to do battle with the 50-day simple moving average. Did better than this day over here because today actually broke through it intraday, but by the time the closing bell came around, you can see close below it. And since we're looking at the daily chart, we care about where the close is. So the 50-day is still the key level of resistance. But like I said, big difference from today compared to the other back here on what was that Monday was the price was actually able to get above it. And every time the 50-day gets hit, it's still trying to crush the price down. But every time it gets hit, it gets weaker and weaker. So, perfect example here, got hit, didn't even break through, but today did get hit, broke through, but wasn't able to close above it. But the 50-day is getting weaker and weaker, and that's exactly what we want to see. And then if you put on kind of your abstract hat, you can see we have a symmetrical triangle here taking shape, except the symmetrical triangle isn't formed with trend lines, it's just formed with our moving averages, this being the resistance portion of the pattern and the 20-day being the support portion. So you can see here these two moving averages are forming a symmetrical triangle. But that's going to be the key dynamic to watch next week is, first of all, can the price get some closes above the 50-day? And if so, can it maintain above it? Because you'll see charts where they get maybe 1 or 2 days closing above the key moving averages and then they kind of get sucked back down. So that'll be the important part next week. Can the price get above the 50-day and then, more importantly, maintain above it and just keep pulling on forward? In terms of supports, nothing really changes. Still have the trend line here that you're going to want to watch, but the 20-day simple moving average here is the other level that you're going to want to keep close eye on. And really the only other update, I'm just going to get rid of this 3-cent level since it is now below where the trend line would be. So, because the trend line at the end of the day, I should probably just draw that out here. This line right here is going to be the must-hold level, no excuses. And since that's below 3 cents, or since that would be above 3 cents now, no point in having that on the chart anymore. So that's where the chart currently stands. Very bizarre, but very good day today. Float does seem to be getting tighter, and as long as that remains the case, then I really don't see why the price isn't going to be able to start to bust through this moving average here. So if there are any other questions on the chart, please let me know. If not, I'd encourage you to check out bullwarriorstocks.com. If you go there and sign up for the free newsletter, you'll be sent a free ebook. With your newsletter subscription, you'll get chart setups, trade ideas, educational pieces, all sorts of things from penny stocks up to big boards. So there's a good variety, something for everybody, and it is all free. So once again, if you have any other questions, let me know. Again, this was ATRN. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your weekends.